When the bad guy's trying to break down your door and you shoot shots right through the door to stop the bad guy before he even gets in, good shoot or bad shoot? Stand by for my analysis.
Oh, nobody's home right now.
Nobody's home right now.
Have to wait till another day.
Oh, much appreciated.
See, they think now nobody's home, so now they're like, okay, cool, let's break into the place. But look, he knocks on another door. It's interesting. Then he starts breaking in. Now he's bloody. But you can see the gun. Shoots an awful lot of shots, too. So after watching this video, I gotta say, I would not be surprised if the homeowner gets charged. Also wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get charged. I know this happened in Texas, which means it's more likely he won't get charged. But if this thing happens in one of those anti-gun states, my money would be on charges. Let me tell you one of the things I think it turns on. And by the way, this is one reason I tell people to keep your mouth shut when the police show up. Because did the homeowner see the gun in the bad guy's hand on the video before he shot through the door? I think that makes a big difference. And the case may turn on that because this is really going to be about imminency, right? You are using deadly physical force if you're the homeowner and you're firing through the door. The question is it imminent? Well, these guys aren't in the house yet. One argument is it's not imminent and the person inside the home fired too quickly. Now look, I know you don't like that answer because gun guys like these kinds of scenarios, right? Where the good guy uses the firearm and holds the bad guy off. If I'm a prosecutor, I probably don't charge this one. But I've dealt with prosecutors for 30 years. Lots of them would charge this type of a case. If the homeowner sees the gun, then what the homeowner knows that if the door opens, there's going to be a person with a gun inside his house. He could be shot in a second. If he doesn't see the firearm, well, then it's a little bit harder argument, right? Because now this guy gets into the home. He's got his own gun. Why not use your firearm at that point? You don't have any reason to think the guy's armed. I mean, you could speculate about it. So if the guy opens his mouth and he says to the police officer, I didn't see the gun on the video, I think it's a harder case for the defendant to defend if he gets charged. On the other hand, if he says, I saw the gun, that's the reason I fired through the door because I was worried that if this guy gets inside the house, he's got a firearm, he could shoot me immediately, and I don't want to be in that situation, may very well be a good shoot. On the other hand, this guy unloads an awful lot of rounds on the outside. And of course, if you're going to discharge a round, you're going to be responsible for where those rounds go. I note that those rounds hit the wall and maybe the door of the neighbor right across the little breezeway there. Some of those rounds might have hit the door, gone through the door, and killed somebody inside. Very likely that's going to be seen as a reckless act because of all the rounds that were discharged. That may not have been very smart of the homeowner to do. Maybe we'll call him the occupant of the apartment. But he unloaded a lot of rounds here. And if one of those rounds had hit or killed an innocent bystander, very likely he's looking at criminal charges. Maybe one round could have got it done. I can see a prosecutor saying he unloaded so many different rounds here, especially if he's watching the camera. He sees these guys scramble pretty fast and get out of there. He may have used more force than was reasonably necessary at the time. Another little point here, from doing these cases for many decades now, another reason you don't talk to the police here. There are two people inside that apartment. They don't know who the shooter was. Why open your mouth and say, hi, I'm the one who shot? If the prosecutor decides it's a bad shoot, you just gave up what could have been a pretty good defense. Imagine nobody inside the apartment makes any statement. I think it's going to be difficult for that prosecutor to prove beyond a reasonable doubt who the shooter was, given that there were two people there. Putting fingerprints aside, maybe both of them have touched that firearm at some point. Both sets of prints are on the firearm. There may also be an argument by the time the police show up, maybe there was another person there who may have left at some point. If you keep your mouth shut, well, then the defense attorney has a lot more fun with this case if indeed the person inside the home gets charged. But if you opened your big mouth and you say, I'm the one who fired, here's why I fired, no, I never saw the gun on the outside, I just saw I was trying to break in, or something like that, you've just put yourself in a really bad position. Again, I'm not against statements, right? Your lawyer can make the statement at any time later on to the prosecutor. So this one, we don't know yet if this person's going to be charged or not. It could happen. But given that it's in Texas, my guess is, because it's such a gun-friendly state, probably no charges here, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if the homeowner gets charged for either using deadly physical force before it was imminent or recklessly using too much force by firing too many rounds. I say play it safe. You don't want to risk your life. But tactically speaking, that's outside my wheelhouse. Legally speaking, use as little amount of force as is reasonably necessary to repel the attack. Don't act too quickly. Don't use more force than is reasonably necessary. And do your best to avoid these types of situations. Although, as we see, as in this video, it's not always possible. We really don't know how things would have gone otherwise. But in any event, he tells these guys nobody's home, letting them believe that the house is unoccupied, so they start breaking in the door. Who knows what the counterfactual would have been. As I've said on many occasions, you don't get to pick the time, place, or circumstances of when you might be forced to make a quick decision. You might make a bad decision, no matter how much training you've had, right? You could have been drinking, you could be sleeping at the time an incident happens. This is why you should in advance think about getting some legal protection. And also, as I've said, if it's a bad shoot, you probably don't want one of those insurance-based companies that specifically excludes criminal acts and illegal acts. As a law firm, we represent people who have actually committed illegal acts and criminal acts all the time. If you're interested in being prepared for these kinds of circumstances, check out the Attorneys on Retainer program. We're the only law firm that administers a self-defense plan. You know exactly who your lawyers are going to be, and you don't have to worry about any of those very common exclusions that the insurance-based companies have. Check out attorneysforfreedom.com. Up at the top right, you'll see a red button. It says Attorneys on Retainer. You can click that and get all the information about Attorneys on Retainer. Or go to attorneysonretainer.us. Very easy to sign up, just a few clicks away. $100 to sign up, $35 a month. Cancel anytime. My name is Marc Victor. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. If you bring it reasonable and civil, you'll get a response from us. Peace.